Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Who Booked This. And we've got a very, very special guest joining us today. He's a dad. He's your dad. He's my dad. He's everyone's dad. He's Dan the Dad.
Hello, hello. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be booking wrestling in the virtual realm here. So let's see how this goes, yeah.
Already a technical hiccup, but that's fine. Because the last game I wasn't playing as Fire Pro, and I've got to set it back to that on OBS.
I know it is. I struggle with my Twitch all the time because it's just I have the most basic setup and it's always screwing up.
I'm kind of the same. Like, I am by no means like a big high tech guy or anything like that. Like, I started this with the intention of just having a laugh with my pals, and because of that, I think I've kept it kind of lo-fi and end up constantly making mistakes like that. Okay, so we'll have a quick look at our roster. I mean, there should be a good few names at least there you're familiar with. Yes, we do. Steel Morrigan. We'll talk a bit more in depth about that in a bit. Why is it not working? Bloody hell. Because I've not activated the bot. That's... Right, okay. And... Okay. Yep, there we go. So the bot is live now. As always with these streams, we pick a charity, or rather we have the guest pick a charity that means something to them. And Dan the Dad has selected St. Louis Children's Hospital, which is obviously a fantastic cause. We'll talk a bit more in depth about that later on, at the point where I have to reset the game to deactivate mods. Okay, so any names there, like, jumping out that you're like, definitely, yeah, I'm going to use them?
Oh, I saw Mike Bailey at the top there.
Oh,
I haven't seen Mike in obviously a very long time, and I miss him. So Speedball is on the show for sure.
Oh yeah, I mean, he's like, everyone loves Speedball. Even before we got him on as a guest, like, people were like, yeah, I want to book Speedball.
I always joke with Mike because so he was the last match that I had before Dan the Dad came to be, and so I like to say that he kicked me so hard that I became a dad. So you can blame Speedball for everything that's happened since then.
You know, I was looking up stuff earlier because I wanted to make sure I had the Dan the Dad in the game as accurate as possible, and because I think the Dan the Dad that went up and I had downloaded was made quite a wee while ago. And I happened across an interview where I believe where you said that, and I was wondering what on earth you meant by that. But like now I know.
Yeah, yeah. Pre Dan the Dad was Danny Adams, and he was just a boring old wrestler. So he's gone now, and now I'm a dad and having a lot more fun. So,
that's good though, because it's always good, like, because I think that happens with a lot of wrestlers. Like, they're kind of, I don't want to say basic, but like, they're just a wrestler to begin with, and then they gradually find their feet and find the character they want to do. Like, obviously, like, Danhausen's a great example of that as well. And it's always great to see. And like, I have to say, like, having like watched some of your matches on YouTube, I love the character. Like, just some of the little touches, like, like the flicking the nose and stuff like that. Although it's a nose boop in this, a la Chris Statlander, because that was the closest move I could find in the game to it. But
close enough.
Yeah. But yeah, we've got a pretty solid roster, and look, someone finally made a face for our girl Viper.
Oh, very good.
Which, I'm never going. We've got the classic Brent Carter there. Brent, one of the local guys, a good real life friend of mine who has not actually had an official match yet. Reason being, he's still a trainee, and he was supposed to debut on a show last May, which obviously hasn't happened because the world around us has kind of fallen apart. But yeah, so in addition to them, who would you like on your show? And even if you just like throw a name at me, and I'll probably know if I've got them.
Oh man, this is everyone. This is every wrestler ever. It looks like this is gonna be tough.
And this is just like North American independent wrestlers.
Sure. So we got a lot. So we'll not hold this up too much. So I see Effie. I would love for Effie to come in if he'll do it.
He does. He's always a popular choice.
Very good. I'm sure he is. What else we got? Let's go. You know what, let's see. Throw an invite out to Samoa Joe. See what he's up to.
Oh, I hope he says yes. Samoa Joe said yes. I'm liking the show already.
So how many? Remind me again. How many should we just pick like 12, 15, 20? How many?
However many you want. I mean, in the game we're loaded, so money's not an object. So.
Let's go. Let's pick up Space Monkey. I was just talking about Space Monkey the other day.
Space Monkey is in. Quite why he's classed as a King's Road wrestler, I don't know, but.
I was just reminding myself the other day, I was like, I need to reach out to Space Monkeys. I've not talked to him in like a whole year, so that just reminded me again. I need to shoot him a message, see what he's up to. Let's sign up Warhorse, unless he's too busy. He's a busy guy, though.
He is a busy man.
Yeah. All right.
Warhorse is in.
Very good, very good. Why not? Let's sign. I want to sign both Trish Stratus and Trish Adora and have a battle of the Trishes. Let's see if we can make that happen.
All right, Adora is in.
All right.
And again, this is just the free agents. So we got like obviously North America, Latin America, Japan. Plus, like at the bottom, we've got like the sort of like legends and stuff I've got in the game as well. Plus, there's obviously a bunch of companies. Hey Jim, how you doing in the chat?
Check. Put Super Dragon on the show. He's been MIA from wrestling for too long.
Oh, he doesn't want to work.
Oh,
it would be Super Dragon.
He's still gonna be MIA. That was very Super Dragon of him to be like, fuck off.
Yep.
I like it. See if we can sign up Terry Funk. He was in the news lately.
Maybe he's retired for real this time.
He's actually retired. We'll see.
We did have that once. Someone tried to sign up the Undertaker once, and he said no, and then retired the following month.
Damn. Go scroll down. I think I saw, Sarah Del Rey.
Ah.
Now we're getting into some of these older types are not interested. They're enjoying retirement. I don't blame them.
Yeah.
What about Taz? Maybe Taz will.
I mean, one of the people on Taz says no. So one of the people on the roster is a Scottish wrestler by the name of Jayla Dark, who is now retired. And like she always said, if I ever do come out of retirement, it's going to be like a 2-minute match and I'm not bumping. So maybe that's like the attitude they're taking.
I'll try one more older type. Try Shane Douglas, because I have a funny story about Shane Douglas. So pre Dan the Dad, I wrestled as Danny Adams.
Oh, he said no.
So I used to wear boots with tassels, like exactly like Shane Douglas used to wear, because I was a big fan of his. And then eventually I just started tweeting at him and told him that I was his long lost son. And then we kind of had a little Twitter thing back and forth where he was acknowledging me as his son, and then I became Dan the Dad. So in a weird roundabout way, And then I was supposed to do something with Shane Douglas maybe like a couple months ago, but the date just didn't line up. Like a promoter reached out to do something with him because he had him on the show, but it just didn't work out, and I was really, really sad about that because I wanted to finally meet my dad.
Oh. See, like my wrestling dad, or like the sort of running joke is that my wrestling dad is Raymond Rougeau.
Okay.
For literally no other reason other than my actual dad in the 80s had a moustache that made him look like a smaller Raymond Rougeau.
I see. That makes sense.
Like, imagine Raymond Rougeau, but just like kind of maybe like 5'7" and just, if we're honest, not really in shape. Whereas Raymond Rougeau was always quite put together. So
very much so. Let's scroll up back to the indie types who will actually return our calls.
All right, we've got some here as well.
Myron Reed right there. I see Myron Reed.
Did I go by him?
I
see him.
Right there.
Ah!
Let's see. Cheerleader Melissa. That's a blasphemy. Try cheerleader Melissa. What's she up to?
Not working for us. We also do have companies in the game, like obviously WWE. You know, mostly the ones you would expect. You know, WWE, AEW, New Japan, AAA, Impact, CMLL, Ring of Honor, DDT, Stardom, Dragon Gate, All Japan, Noah, GCW, who have somehow signed Kaylee Ray, Ice Ribbon, Sendai Girls, Gattle Move, who have signed John Cena, and Ultimo Dragon. I never noticed that one before.
They must have had an investor of some sort.
Yeah, good on them. I mean, John Cena and Ultimo Dragon and like Choco Pro, I would watch that.
Scroll over. Let's see. Check the AEW roster. See what's going on there.
All right. Also, anyone who's grayed out is just like unavailable, usually due to injury.
I see. Let's give Ethan Page a try. We got Ethan Page coming in this Sunday for Glory Pro, so I'm excited for that event down here in St. Louis. So, he's taking indie dates, so we better return our call.
Oh, he said no. What roar? Well, saying that, looking at that graphic, he looks kind of hurt. So.
Maybe.
Some of the rosters might be slightly outdated. Like some weird releases happen, like New Japan released Okada for some reason. Like
oh, right, yeah.
So
that'll happen.
Anyone jumping out at you?
Well, we've been denied like 15 times in a row.
I will say, AEW seem to like us, so most of them probably would say yes.
All right, give Orange Cassidy a try then.
He's in.
And try Big Swole.
Big Swole, who put in great work.
All right.
The other night defending Faye Jackson.
Ooh, try Sunny Kiss. I just saw Sunny a couple weeks ago up in Minnesota. Had a good time.
Big Sunny Kiss fan here, so hell yeah, we've got.
All right.
Anyone else?
Try Eddie Kingston. Eddie Kingston coming in for Glory Pro in next month. So 2 big shows coming up for Glory.
All right, we got him.
There we go. I knew he would return my call. See if you can snag Riho.
can.
All right.
See what independent wrestling can do when it's got actual big money behind it.
Yeah, right. Anything is possible. Anything is possible. I don't know if they would cost $60,000 per show, but
Oh yeah, the economy in this game is crazy. It's like
need to scale that
EWR
back a
all
little
over
bit.
again.
Yeah, exactly. That would always kind of disinterest me in EWR, just because it would get like really, really weird after a while, and I just I would lose interest when it would do that. I don't know
But
why. I think if I played it now, I would like it better. But like when I was younger, I was just like, this is too weird.
Yeah, I think a lot of the like budgeting of it was based off like basically WCW and WWF in the Attitude Era, where they were able to offer like big money for everyone. So I can only assume that's where it comes from. Either that or a shocking level of naivety about like how much independent wrestlers actually make.
Sure. I think that's mostly that. That's
Yeah. I mean, it's like
which is we're not very transparent about it, so it makes sense that folks wouldn't really have that good of an idea of what goes into it. But
I mean, it's like with almost any sort of line of work in, I guess, like entertainment or the arts. You know, like musicians or actors. If you're not at the top, like the very, very top, you know, it's probably a struggle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no doubt. Let's scroll over. Do the GCW folks like us? Will they sign up? Or no?
Most of the companies like us, to be honest. So
okay. Let's try to sign Ricky Shane Page.
There we go. We got him.
Yeah, Ricky's a pro. Of course, he's taking bookings. So we probably need to get a little more international. So maybe let's go to the Japanese side.
All right. So you're thinking a specific company or the freelancers or
try New Japan.
Who have signed Bryan Danielson, by the way.
That's neat.
Oh yeah,
maybe that'll happen in real life.
Yeah, I mean, obviously nothing's 100% confirmed, but obviously there's the rumors doing the rounds that he's signed a deal with AEW, and they've got a deal going on with New Japan, so you never know.
I want to see if both Tenzan and Kojima will sign. Let's see if they'll work a tag match for us.
Oh, that's some good shouts. Kojima's in. We'll pay him in bread. Oh, actually,
keep him. It's fine.
Yeah. I mean, we're loaded. A couple of grand here is not going to make a big difference to our budget.
You sent the wrong email, but you're like, screw it. You're good anyway. Actually, scroll over to the AAA. Let's get some Mexican talent in there.
Who have signed Andrade.
Oh, very good.
Also, go ahead. Oh, and you go.
I was gonna say, El Hijo del Vikingo. I think he's awesome. His name is so long, and I always like slip over it every time I try to say it. I'm surprised I even just said it all there. Give him a try though.
All right, he's in.
All right.
All I was going to say was because I noticed Hikuleo on the New Japan roster, and I saw him live a couple of years ago when he was doing his UK tour. That man's chops are absurdly loud.
Oh yeah.
Hello, Sturgeon. Thank you for the resubscription there. Really much appreciate it. Alright, anyone else there jumping out at you?
Sign where's the clown? Psycho Clown or whatever?
Oh, Psycho Clown? Don't tell me they've released him.
They somebody else pick up Psycho.
Oh yeah, he's an independent
Oh,
now.
there he is. We'll pick him up.
Oh.
Oh.
Also, this is where it gets weird because, like, obviously, some nationalities aren't covered by the geography of the different areas they've got. So they just throw them in a random one. But for some reason, they seem to like throwing the Irish wrestlers into Latin America, and I have no idea why.
Oh, I guess they're going on excursion down to Mexico.
Big demo from Belfast, Mexico.
Of course. Gosh, I don't even know how many folks we have signed up.
Give me a second, we can have a quick look. Alright, so in addition to our own people, we currently have Effie, Samoa Joe, Space Monkey, the two Trishies, Warhorse, Ricky Shane Page, Elijo del Vikingo, Tenzan Kojima and Makabe, Swole, Rio, Sonny Kiss, Eddie Kingston, and Orange Cassidy.
All right, you think that's enough? Can we put this together with
If
those
you like,
folks?
it is your show.
Let's do it.
Alright, so what are you thinking for an opener?
We signed Mike Bailey, didn't we?
Well, we've got him anyway, so
That's right. So yeah, well, I want Speedball in a hot opener with somebody. I think do Speedball and Myron Reed.
oh, I would watch that.
See, we're gonna book some actual matches. That
Myron
will
Reed
happen
said no.
someday. Oh, that's right. Okay. Who else? We got somebody else who can hang with Speedball. Screw it. Just let's do Dan the Dad versus Speedball.
I like.
I'll get some revenge on him.
You're taking that, put myself in the opener so I can relax with the rest of the show logic.
You know, when I actually promote shows, I have to put myself towards the end just because the show, once the show gets going, it's so much easier. It just kind of runs itself. But so I usually put myself down match 6 or 7, just so I can get everything going and then relax. Because once match 1 is out there, it's like we can trust everyone to do the job. So
Alright.
I usually go the other direction. Let's do just the singles match again. Let's do our battle of the Trishas. Trish Stratus against Trish Adora.
And we were talking earlier about how strange it is that like some people have been made in the game and not others. I had to make that Trish Adora myself.
Oh, well. Somebody had to.
I'm just surprised that nobody else got there first.
Right. Let's try it. Let's do a tag match. Some variety in there. And let's see. So we had Tenzan and Kojima. So let's pair them up. I don't think we really signed any other tag teams though, so we gotta throw something together. Let's do Eddie Kingston. Eddie Kingston and actually, didn't we sign? We signed Makabe by mistake, but I think Eddie Kingston, and Makabe versus Tenzan Kojima.
Okay,
Watch that match.
Yeah, I'd watch that. Hell yeah, I'd watch that. Alright, how do you follow that?
Let's see. So let's do let's do a 6-man tag. Let's do a trios. I don't know if we signed enough luchadors for this, but oh, we only signed 1. Okay, well let's do Space Monkey. Effie, and Warhorse will be one team.
This is absurdity, and I love it.
They're all friends. It makes sense in my universe here. So throw El Hijo del Vikingo. He's gonna help us put together a very nice lucha-style trios match. We'll do Sunny Kiss. And who else? Scroll over to the our roster here. Who all was in there? Oh, Andrew Everett. There we go.
Big giant Andrew Everett.
All right, let's do a singles match. We should save Samoa Joe for our main event. So let's see what else we. He's only coming in if he's doing the main event. That was part of the deal. Who else? We had Riho.
So we've got Samoa Joe, Ricky Shane Page, Swole, Rio, and Orange Cassidy.
Let's do Riho and who was on our roster again? Allison Kay. That'll be good.
Hell yeah. All right.
So singles match again. I have an idea for this main event, and I don't know how well it's going to go over, but let's fill out the rest of this card, and then we'll see what happens with it. Let's see. Let's go with O'Shea Edwards. O'Shea, very good, very talented. Against Ricky Shane Page.
Oh, that I like. How on earth are you following that?
Let's see what else we got here. I think we'll keep this at an 8-match card because I think that's my favorite length of card. 8 matches is the perfect amount. So.
Okay.
Let's do another singles match. We've already got some tag matches on there,
so our guests, you've still to book Swole, Cassidy, and Samoa Joe.
Alright, so throw Swole in there. And let's see. Let's do Swole and Faye Jackson. That's good stuff.
Alright, and the main event?
Main event, alright. Samoa Joe. If you know where I'm going with this.
I think I do.
Samoa Joe and Orange Cassidy. Who wouldn't watch that?
I would 1,000,000% say.
Good price, definitely $100 for that main event. Or whatever is the correct amount.
So yep, I think we're good to go. Set it so that they come out together. And confirm that card. Get out of here, bot.
I don't even know what to do with bots on my stream. Everyone's like, oh, you need to do all these different things, and I'm like, I don't have the energy for that. Only one pops up every like 3 streams, and I'm like, you know what? It's fine. It's a viewer.
Alright.
Pumping the numbers up.
Alright, so proceed. And is at this point I will restart the game, just to restart it without the mods. The reason for that, by the way, is so sometimes the mods kind of make the game run a bit iffy. However, I keep them on during that selection process because sometimes without the mods, Fire Promoter gets a bit too real and people no-show.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so basically starting the show with the mods active stops that from happening. But yeah, now we restart the game, deactivate the mods, and we'll be good to go. So while we do that, the charity you picked was the St. Louis Children's Hospital.
Yeah, and so that's a hospital here in St. Louis. I actually, so in my shoot life, as we like to call it, I work for Washington University here in St. Louis, and it's one of their hospitals that the university works with is the St. Louis Children's Hospital. So it's near and dear to my heart, just because part of the organization that I work for, and they're great. And they do a lot of great work and fund a lot of research for just to help kids with whether it's cancer or any other sort of struggles they might be going through. So just a great place to send some funds because it costs money to care for all these great kids here in St. Louis. And then there are people from all over the country that get sent to St. Louis Children's Hospital because it's it's one of the best in the country. So.
Oh, that's fantastic! So if you're watching this, if you enjoy what we're doing, please, in lieu of subscribing or anything like that, it's not appreciated, but please maybe chuck a few quid to them instead if you're able to, or even just spread the word because obviously not everyone can donate right now because it's tough times for everyone, and you never know. When you share a charity like that, you never know who it might help. So, yeah. Helping a charity that, whether it's just by getting more eyes and ears on it, or, chucking a few quid if you are able to. If you can help them, please do. Alright, we're nearly back up here. I will remember to bring the game back up in the Discord, because I always forget that. Every single time. And we have what looks to be a damn fine show on our hands. Hey Jeremy, how you doing? Yeah, so I was doing it today. I've done my best to attempt to recreate your moveset within the game with what is there. You can create your own moves now, but I'm not very good at it. Because you have to do everything frame by frame.
Yeah, I think I messed around with that for a day and I was like, no, that's just, I don't have the time. But it's great that some people do and they can put cool stuff in there, but it's not me.
Yeah, I've managed a couple of things. And it's usually just, two moves strung together.
Right.
For example, one of them is the setup for the Kamigoye. It's that, but into a triangle choke. And that's two existing things that exist within the game anyway, so I was able to do it. That's the only reason how. Whereas you look on the workshop and there's some that have very clearly been animated from scratch, and it's I don't know how they do it.
Some people just they got those skills.
Also, the very, very dangerous move I created, which is a one-winged angel into an emerald flosion. So just basically dropping someone on their head from as high as is humanly possible. Okay, we go now to our opening match of this damn fine show that Dan the Dad has put together for us. And it's Dan the Dad himself versus Speedball Mike Bailey. Speedball Bailey, kicker of people, flipper of off the top, and
He does. He just does everything, and so it's almost unfair. He's like he's an overpowered character in real life.
yeah. And to top it all off, he's just like an absolute sweetheart of a human being as well.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Wait. Why is Speedball coming out to this? What's going on? Because I did not set Mike Bailey's theme properly. So I don't know what's happening right now.
Couldn't tell you.
And here's your good self.
All right. It's very authentic already. Got the Carry On Wayward Son playing. That's good stuff.
Well, I do strive for accuracy. And someone actually made your shirt in the game.
I saw that not too long ago, actually. I was like, man, that's super detailed for a game that doesn't really emphasize details that much. It's like you can really tell what that is.
Alright, so fighting Speedball Mike Bailey, what would your strategy be?
Avoid the kicks by all means, but that's not going to happen the whole time. So I think avoid the kicks until he finally catches you with one, and then hopefully you get lucky and you don't get knocked out. But I don't think there's much strategy for Mike Bailey. So he'll get you. He'll get you. He will kick you, and he will flip on you with his flipping. He has a flipping knees and all sorts of overpowered goodness. Honestly.
Dawnbreaker in the chat says that their tactic would simply be run and hide.
Right. Yeah. That's kind of what I was getting at. There's really not much you can do against an accomplished martial artist who can also flip. I mean, I don't know. Well, there's the speedball kicks. I love it. Probably tap me out in 3 minutes here.
We've seen stranger things happen. We once saw a match end in like 52 seconds. So, like, I mean, sometimes
I hope I lose.
Yeah, because is it considered like uncouth to like put yourself over on your own show?
It depends if you're over or not. If you're not over and you're putting yourself and you're winning matches, then I'd say that's a bit of a no-no. But I mean, if you're the guy everyone's paying to see, then there's nothing wrong with that.
Oh, enraging them by like poking them there.
That's all I can do really. Just keep poking them in the eye.
You're playing it smart though, you know, not getting too close, not letting them kick you too much.
Must have his runaway logic set pretty high. Dan the Dad character here.
Well, I looked at it and it's not like, it's definitely not overpowered or anything, so... But at the same time, it is quite hard to make a one-sided match on Fire Pro. As I've found out many times. And this is the difference today, chat. We've actually got a wrestler who knows Fire Pro with us.
I've played Fire Pro since I was a kid. I remember I was addicted to my Game Boy Advance playing Fire Pro 1 and 2. So I got started on Fire Pro at a relatively young age, and then kind of went through, and as it became easier to discover, video games, whether it just be through online communities or whatever, just kind of was able to play some of the, other ones on the Super NES just to kind of get caught up and discover those, and then I've been a fan for many years.
Huh. So like that's longer than me because I didn't get into it until like what do you call it? The Fire Pro Returns on the PS2.
Right, yeah.
Because like most of them weren't released over here.
Yeah, it was really just like those Game Boy games, Game Boy Advance games that were the only ones until like Fire Pro Returns got released.
Even that didn't come out over here. It got released on like mainland Europe, but not here for some reason. So I ended up having to import it from like Italy, and then like my bank thought I'd been scammed or something because I ordered something off an Italian website. That's a true thing. I had to physically had to go into my bank and tell them, no, I actually did order this.
I did order this obscure wrestling video game from Italy.
I believe you would have Steel Morrigan. You would have played the one with the really weird Suda 51 storyline, right? I can't remember exactly. I think it was one of the Super Nintendo ones. But it had like
I think that was Fire Pro X. I think that was the one that had like, where your character just like commits suicide at the end or something, like really extreme. It was a very dark storyline, but they're famous because of that though.
I mean, they added in a storyline in this one, which is actually a follow-up to that, where you play as the guy's son.
Right, yeah.
And it's a bit less dark, I'll put it that way. And there's a dude called There's a dude called Nature Strange, who is just very clearly Shinsuke Nakamura, but with the Planet Stasiak gimmick.
That's great. I haven't played all the way through that yet either. Just I haven't had the time, but I've been meaning to.
Speedball's just saying speedball things right now.
He's speedballing.
Dan the Dad doing his damnedest to get back into this one. What's it like to wrestle with glasses on?
It's not as hard as you think. Sometimes they fall off, and that's okay. But I try to keep them on as much as I can. But I knew Speedball was going to beat me. There was no way I was going to book myself over in the opener like that. So lucky Speedball that I'm a good promoter.
Yeah. Also, I think I know what that.
Not.
I think I know why the theme might have messed up. Alright, 84%, so not bad, but it was a little bit one-sided.
Yeah, I mean, it's a Dan the Dad match, so it's just gonna be okay, so...
Next up, Battle of the Trishies. Trish Sora and Trish Stratus, a match I never really thought of, but now I kind of want to see it.
I want to see it. I mean, I only thought of it because alphabetically that's what I saw, but I like it.
Oh, got another theme not working. Damn it, game. I need to fire that sound, man.
Yeah, he's got he doesn't have the files pulled up.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it, it's not an independent wrestling show unless someone's theme gets messed up.
You know, I've always thought that like running sound isn't necessarily like, I'm not gonna say it's like the easiest job in the world, but it's also one that's not too terribly difficult if you're paying attention and you're playing the right songs. But boy, it does get messed up a lot. It's just one of those things. One of those independent wrestling things where you're like, well, we tried, but sound guy was sleeping again.
I mean, my local Discovery Wrestling, they haven't had that too much, although they have had, like, they've got like a screen they put over the entranceway for like entrance videos and stuff like that, and that's messed up a few times, and all of a sudden you get like the Windows screen or whatever. But like, these things happen.
That's why at Glory Pro we never really run screens with videos or anything specifically for that reason, because it's like, man, that is just one more thing
They can
possibly get messed up. And it's like there's enough to deal with on the day of a show to where it's like, oh no, you got to worry about this video screen work, and it's just too much.
Oh,
leave it out.
And there's the thing, because you're a promoter, you might get hit with the curse. So, like, as well as wrestlers, we have had a few, like, people on here who have been, you know, like, rather than, like, wrestlers and promoters, they're just exclusively promoters. And the people who that apply to generally don't score very high. And it's a weird thing. The only one that's actually scored an average of over 90 was Mike Koch from ISW. Like, I'm trying to think who. I know Alan that runs Discovery was one of them. And Michael that runs, what do you call it, Heathen Combat down in New Zealand. And, you know, you'd think promoters, like, but it didn't work. But then again, as I said, the top score ever belongs to Faye Jackson. So, and Shug did well as well for what it's worth. Although he was kind of pissed that Faye did better than him. As you can imagine.
I mean, Faye's promoted. She's promoted.
That's true.
She's at least promoted battle royals before, so I think she can fall into that category of a promoter, booker type.
Yeah, that is true. But it seems to be the ones that, like, are actually exclusively promoters that didn't do great. That's true. Shug did get Teddy Long on the show somehow. What happened was earlier in the day, Shug had done an interview on a podcast or something like that, and the person who was doing the podcast was interviewing Teddy Long later in the day and passed Shug's number on to him, and Shug got him to call in while we were on and give the tag team tour. And here's the beauty of it. Shug ran a tag team tournament that he literally called the Teddy Long Tag Team Invitational.
Oh, that's great.
And he got Teddy Long to give it his blessing.
It's fantastic. I hadn't heard about that. That's great.
The best part of it was, like, afterwards, Shug was the one marking out. Because he's like, I used to watch that guy manage Doom, kind of thing.
He did announce a lot of tag team matches, too.
Mm-hmm. And anyone, by the way, who's watching this, if you don't know Trish Adora, that woman is going to be a star.
She's well on her way. I mean, she's a star already, but she's going to be a really big name, probably within the next year, if not less.
Like, I think if it hadn't been for, you know, like, the pandemic and everything, she'd have been around the world by now, easy.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few people whose momentum, I would even throw myself in there, where it's like momentum kind of was high, and then stuff got halted, and then now it's time to build it all back up. So, you know, she's obviously not having any trouble doing that. So. Oh
yeah, I mean, like, Warhorse as well. He was supposed to be, like, over here in the UK, like, start of last year, and then obviously pandemic, he wasn't able to. He was actually going to be wrestling one of the people we've had on here, a guy called an English guy by the name of Gene Money, and I would love to have seen that because Gene's a hilarious dude. So, and yeah, Chainsaw saying saw Trish wrestle for Glam. She was awesome, instant fan. Right, yeah, Gene was actually the first person we had on here. Because he's...
I've not met Gene, but I'm familiar with his work. He's very entertaining.
Oh yeah, I mean, he's like, I kind of know him because he's a regular at my local promotion in Edinburgh.
Yeah.
And lovely fellow, as well as being just outright hilarious constantly.
You're right. It's very funny. So what's the deal kind of over that way as far as shows happening? Are they starting back up yet, or are they just kind of getting
not
still low attendance type of stuff?
none here yet. As far as I'm aware, the only ones that have happened in Scotland have been like the ICW closed doors ones that have been going on the network. And they're just like closed doors done at the ICW training school. Like Discovery I think they're trying to come back later in the year. I know some companies down in England have run shows, I think, with reduced attendances. But yeah, it's still going very slow here. Then again, like without going on to a rant or anything,
it's your show, rant away.
I think all I'll say is I think the government down south have been a lot less cautious than the Scottish government about it. But then, and Trish Adora gets the win.
I think that's going to get a pretty high rating.
Yeah,
it's pretty back and forth, isn't it?
A lot of near falls. Big Hans Johnson was kept very busy. 86.
Only 86.
That's disappointing.
We need to step this up. This tag match better kill it.
I think it will.
I need a big 100 just to get I need to get up over that 90%.
I've been saying that since I started these back up. I started these back up late last year. New leaderboard and everything. And I think some of the stuff I did with the mods before I did the restart kind of helped boost the show ratings a bit. Because it was little things I would do with the mods that make it easier to get people in that maybe don't want to be on your show.
Right.
But a side effect of that is it makes those wrestlers more appealing to your audience, and thus they get higher ratings.
That makes sense.
I think I'm not going to lie, I think that's why Faye's show scored as high as it did. Because it was ridiculous. The average rating was 98.5% or something. But then we had one when we had Killer Kelly on. Killer Kelly only booked 6 matches. And this was early on, so I don't think it was quite affected by the thing. But 6 matches, the first 3 of which all scored 100. And then the last 3 matches all ended early by critical.
Does that lower the score quite a bit?
It can do if it happens early. If the match has been going on a while and it happens, you'll still probably get a decent rating. But if it happens early, it will absolutely tank it. And while we're talking ridiculous Fire Pro things, never forget the time that the audience once booked Kazuchika Okada against Gene Money. And in game it went for 90 minutes.
Wow. Some good work from Gene.
Yeah, I mean, I can't see Gene ever wanting to work a match that long. No offense to the man.
Nobody in their right mind would want to do that.
Maybe you can see the likes of Okada or a Kenny Omega or something. It was the busted Spike version of Okada, yes, Jim. Where it was this Okada would just have ridiculously long matches constantly. Kind of like the real Okada.
Yeah, it sounds like he's accurate to me.
Long matches, impossible to beat. That sounds like the real thing. So who have you got here? Damn it, I forgot to do the bets. So we've got a thing we do with the Fire Pro stream here as well, where people can bet the channel points on who they think will win the match.
Okay, that's a little action going. I appreciate that.
Our channel points, which have been named Hot Dog Handshakes.
Okay. Sounds like the next cryptocurrency or something.
It does, actually, now that you mentioned that.
I bet if he actually took a little clip of this match and we let Eddie know that he was wrestling 10 Cozy with tagged up with Maccabi, I think he would really appreciate that.
I think he would too.
He's a huge fan of, I think, everybody in this match.
Oh, I mean, you can tell in his style that he's obviously like a big fan of, like, especially like the sort of, I guess, like early 90s, like New Japan and All Japan. You know.
Yeah. I mean, that's why he wears the black and yellow, because it's always been a tribute to Kawada. So.
And he had the Misawa gear that time in AEW as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Saying that, the one time I saw him wrestle live, he had gear. You might remember it, that gear that he had that looked borderline like Harlem Heats.
Oh yeah, I remember.
The kind of red one with the flames on it.
Yeah.
That was what he had on when I saw him. And naturally, he did the Kenta Kobashi chops in the corner.
Of course.
Wouldn't have had it any other way.
Eddie's great. Eddie helped at Glory Pro. He stepped in and held our title for a while and kind of came in and was a locker room leader for everybody. So we all learned a ton from Eddie from the about a year that he kind of was here consistently, and then obviously went on to bigger and better things. But he's always was like a really great person to who would always help younger talents get better, and just like one of the best like locker room leader types that I've ever known, for sure.
He's always, I mean, obviously my perspective is different, but like as a fan looking in, but like, yeah, he's always come across that way, like beyond all the bluster and everything. Like, I mean, there was that video of like him talking in the AEW locker room. I think it was at the Brody tribute show. Mm-hmm. And yeah, the kind of guy you need in a locker room, I would imagine.
Yeah, he's the best. I mean, obviously very brash and has an ego in the ring, but behind the curtain, he's actually a real sweetheart. So don't know if he'd even love me saying that, but.
But I remember watching his AEW debut, and I showed it to a friend of mine who only like kind of watches wrestling sometimes. Mm-hmm. So like, a name like Eddie Kingston, he wasn't familiar with, because any independent stuff for that he sees is usually through me. And he was like, immediately like, this guy's awesome, they need to sign him, was the reaction. And it was generally the reaction you saw from people who weren't already familiar with him on Twitter as well. And it worked.
Yeah, Eddie's just one of those types who just comes off. He's obviously great in the ring, but he still comes off with he has a great connection with people that, like they're wrestling fans who are really into it and kind of know exactly what's going on. And then there's a lot of people who watch wrestling maybe for the first time, maybe they're only casually catch it every once in a while. They're not quite as initiated into everything. And Eddie is one of those types of talents that can reach both sides of that, and that's a really great thing for for wrestling and for AEW is just to find those people that obviously still appeal to your big wrestling fans because that's your main demographic, but when those people can also bring in new fans at the same time, like that's when you've got money. So
totally.
They've got a lot of people on the roster that are kind of starting to hit both of those, and I think it's great because that's what wrestling needs. That's why I've always liked having a character that people can relate to, because it's like there are always people in the crowd who might be there for the first time. They don't really know what they're seeing, and I think we take it for granted as wrestlers and big wrestling fans that there are folks that we can bring into the community to show them how cool it is. It's just a matter of there's a little bit of a barrier to entry if you don't have anyone that they can relate to right away and can understand. So it's always good to have those people around, like a Warhorse, a Danhausen, Effie.
I was just thinking those names. Like easily identifiable characters where you see them and you know what the deal is.
So I always like to kind of give you an example of when a Warhorse or a Danhausen or even myself comes out, and we can always help break down that barrier a little bit, and then when that new fan is nice and settled in, then here comes a Josh Alexander to have a 30-minute badass real amazing wrestling match, and that fan is ready for that because they've seen something that's a little bit more easily digestible before that, and it all just kind of works together, right? It's a variety show, so I like wrestling when it's full of variety.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Like I grew up in I guess like you say, a variety of wrestling, and thus grew up with an appreciation for all of it. Obviously, being the age that I am and getting into wrestling when the first stuff I got was basically sort of late 80s, early 90s WWF stuff, and then seeing tapes that my cousin got a hold of New Japan and ECW and stuff like that. So yeah, you do need a bit of everything, and like you say, it's different strokes. An Eddie Kingston, and I've always thought about it when a lot of wrestling fans say charisma, and I was thinking about this earlier with the Bryan Danielson news. I remember when he first signed with WWE, a lot of fans were going "Oh, I don't know if he'll make it there. I don't know if he's charismatic enough, or I don't think he's big enough, etc., etc." Mm-hmm. But it's not just charisma is more than just being a flashy talker, The Rock or whoever. Daniel Bryan's charismatic as hell. It's in a different way. He's got that innate likability that honestly a lot of wrestlers would kill for, probably.
Yeah, you can connect with people in so many different ways. It's not like one particular skill set that you have to have. It's just whether or not you connect. So you can do that in a million different ways. But there's that 100. I told you
you were right.
Get that.
What a match it was.
There's different ways to do it, and if you can do it through great wrestling and great fire, like Danielson, then that's great. Or we've got Orange Cassidy who does it in his own way, and it's just it doesn't. Money is money, and being over is over. It's at the end of the day, that's what is the measure of success in wrestling. So it doesn't matter how you get there, as long as people want to pay to see you. That's success.
Exactly. Right. Since it's a 6-man, we'll speed it up slightly. But yeah, an Eddie Kingston and Samoa Joe's similar in that way. Again, not a flashy talker in the way that someone like The Rock is, but it's the best way I can put it is when they say things, I believe them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Eddie Kingston coming out immediately on his debut, stomping out, threatening to burst Cody Rhodes and Aaron Anderson, and everyone within earshot. I believe him. I believe he was going to do that. We've got a question in the chat as well. Jeremy asking, what made you choose wrestling?
Me, I mean, I've been into wrestling before I can remember, so I can trace that all back to like my great grandpa was a huge fan of wrestling at the Chase, which was a TV show here in St. Louis that had everyone, you know, Ric Flair, Bruiser Brody, everyone, some of the best wrestlers in the world all would come to St. Louis, and so that just sort of like it's been a fandom in my family just since then. So that's dating back to like the 60s and 70s, and then I just grew up always as a fan. I mean, I don't remember a time in my life when I wasn't. So it just never went away. You know, I always was a fan all the way through, you know, my childhood and the high school, college years, and then I just got the opportunity to go train because someone started a school here in town, and that was it. So I don't know. It was more of a not something I saw myself actually getting into my whole life, but once the opportunity presented itself, I was like, I'm gonna regret this if I don't just go give it a try. And I didn't have any, you know, I didn't have any expectations for myself because it was just kind of like, well, let's go see. I mean, at very least, it'll be fun to get in a wrestling ring and try it out. But you know, 7 years later, still doing it. So
this is an odd team, but one that I would quite like to see.
One of my favorite things about Sunny Kiss is you can put him with anybody, and for some reason it sort of makes sense. It's like a chameleon in that way. It could be a heel team, it could be a babyface team. It doesn't really matter. Sunny Kiss just fits, no matter who it is.
Yeah. Sunny Kiss is another one that, like, I think if not for, you know, like the pandemic and lack of live crowds, would have been a much bigger star by now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, they've just like absolutely like dripping with charisma is the only way I can put it.
And so so this a couple weeks ago I was up in Minnesota, and it was a wrestling show that also had some drag and burlesque aspects to it. Just kind of between matches, it was like a whole thing. It was a lot of fun, and you know, Sunny Kiss was in the main event, and the line as they started like the little meet and greet thing right after the show, the line there was like maybe 300-400 people there. It was a pretty big crowd, and I swear just about every single one of them was lined up to pay for that meet and greet. So many so that I took my merch box and I just set up right next to it so I get some residual sales. But that worked out pretty good for me. But Sunny is a star and someone that, you know, once people see even just one time, they wanted to go over and pay for an autograph just based off of the one, you know, just seeing one match. So yeah, that's the measure right there. Is if you can make a fan out of somebody through just one appearance like that, that's great.
Oh, I mean, I've seen that before, good few times. Like I mentioned, I go to Discovery Wrestling, which is my local one here in Edinburgh, and they're like, it's a family-friendly show, but like not overly kiddie-ish with it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And they've had some good imports in. Like before AEW started and became a thing, they had basically the Elite at different times there, one time or the other. People like that, and Shug, when he was based in the UK, he became sort of semi-regular there as well. And I think a lot of the, like, you know, like the kid fans that would go weren't familiar with him before he started there. Like a lot of the older fans that like follow independent wrestling and stuff knew who he was, but there was a lot of the fans that didn't as well, and he just instantly won everyone over.
Yeah, and that's real talent right there. And someone can especially like a family show like that. I love shows like that because it's like, you know, families and kids can come in and enjoy it. It makes like what we do very rewarding. So pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I like them as well. Like, seeing, like, before, obviously, WWE dealing that, like, Piper Niven was a regular there. And, like, seeing her, like, interact with, like, kids and stuff, because she's, like, really, really good at that. And it's just the best. You know, like, over 18 shows and that are fine, but family shows are brilliant as well.
Yeah, I mean they're just different, but I think family-friendly shows just kind of show how talented some people are, because maybe you don't have to rely so much on upping the violence or upping the extreme swearing or anything. Like, it's just like it's kind of a true measure of like you as a professional, if you can entertain just some folks that are there to have a good time.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a different skill set to be able to have success there versus an adult crowd of people who are maybe already familiar with you from watching other independents or anything. Like, it's cool to kind of measure yourself. Like, even just yesterday, I was out at it was just a county fair show on a Wednesday. And a friend of mine who was running the show was like, "Hey, can you come down and come do it?" And it sounded like fun, so I did. And it was a blast, because it was just some people from a small town, here in the Midwest of the United States, and they were just there to have a good time. And it was a blast, because they were responsive to everything. They hadn't really seen wrestling very much. There hadn't really been a lot of wrestling that had come to their town, so it was a blast.
That's always the best when you get that. I mean, it doesn't happen so much here, because I guess, like, because Scotland's such a small country, and, like, pretty much all of the major cities in Scotland have some kind of wrestling in them. Or if you're in a small town, there's usually, like, a bigger town or a bigger city nearby that's easy to get to that has wrestling in it. But yeah, like, there was a couple of companies that would, like, made a conscious effort to go to the smaller towns, just in, like, like town halls or high schools or whatever, that don't usually get wrestling. And that's great. I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah, because there's people. I mean, especially, like, the United States is so big, and it's like one of the things that I've been able to do is see a lot of places that there's no way I would have seen them if wrestling didn't take me there. Because they're just small towns where they kind of just exist by themselves, and there's not a lot of entertainment or anything that goes through, and it's just a cool feeling when you can be entertainment.
Yeah.
And it's you can almost feel like maybe a little bit more of a celebrity than you would in a more of a city or a more populated area, just because they get big stars that come through. Maybe WWE comes through or whatever, but then the WWE does not come to Petersburg, Illinois, where I was last night.
Yeah.
So when we come, that's all they really get to see close to home, and it's fun to be able to do that. And there's lots of people in this world that need entertainment that kind of get passed by just because they're in small little rural areas that. But there's still some good people out there, and they're a lot of fun.
I mean, I grew up in one of those. Like, I grew up in a small town called Grangemouth here in Scotland, which is it's like halfway between Edinburgh and Glasgow. But it's one of those where, like, if you don't drive, you have to rely on public transport, and the public transport between Grangemouth and those places is, like, kind of not great. Or, like, if you go to a gig, you have to get, like, you sometimes have to leave early because you need to get the last train home or whatever. And since I left there, there's actually a wrestling company that have started, like, running the town hall there. And it's like, why didn't they have that when I was growing up?
I wish I had gotten into independent wrestling earlier. I remember my dad took me to a few, maybe when I was 10, 12 years old or so, but it wasn't ever something we like did consistently. And I wish that we had that experience a little bit more, but it just wasn't really, especially back in, that would have been 2005, 2006, kind of that time. There really wasn't that much local independent wrestling, so it's cool that nowadays it's like exploded more, where you really can find it just about anywhere, you know.
Oh, thank you for the bit. That real John Cena. John Cena's dropping his bits, Dan the Dad.
He's here.
I mean, I can't see him, but he's here.
I'll take his word for it. So what was that, 89? That's not too bad.
Yeah. Solid win for Team Monkey.
Monkey Team. I think Space Monkey should start a group called Monkey Team.
I'd support him.
I'd wear a Monkey Team t-shirt.
I like that.
There was one car ride one time where we were just making up other space animals for Space Monkey to team with, and so it was Thomas Shire. So he's from the St. Louis area here, and we were convincing him that he needed to be Space Tiger. He wouldn't team with Space Monkey. He'd be more like Space Monkey's nemesis. But he wouldn't go for it. I'm like, man, it would be so way cooler if you were Space Tiger, and we could run this Space Monkey versus Space Tiger match all over the country. He wouldn't do it.
Then you'd need a sidekick that would be like a less majestic animal, like Space Weevil.
Yeah, or like Space Armadillo or something like that. Space Platypus.
Space Armadillo, he doesn't hit you hard, but he's got great defense.
Exactly.
Our next match that you've picked, Riho versus Allison Kay. Which, again, not a match I had ever thought about before, but now I really want to see it.
See, this is what we're doing here. We're let's see if we can make some of these matches happen in real life.
One of my favourite combinations ever was when we had Speedball on, booked Lulu Pencil and Danhausen as a team.
Sure, why not?
Which, something I never thought about before, but now I really want to see it.
Yeah.
And what are these streams if not about, let's be honest, popping me with some of the crackpot ideas that some people have?
I mean, it wouldn't be very entertaining if we were just booking normal matches that might actually happen. We gotta get outside the box here.
Yeah, like Matt Mikowski tried to book Undertaker versus Sting, which, you know, fair enough. It's a dream match that a lot of people wanted, but the Undertaker said no. So, of course, he went for the next best thing, which was Faye Jackson. So we had Faye Jackson against Sting.
I can appreciate that.
I think you may be right, British. I think that might have been during... In fact, yeah, it was. It was during the Pelly fundraiser, because that was when Veronica drew it. You're right. I can't remember who picked that team, but I love them for it. Jim in the chat has just commented, Faye Jackson in the Undertaker coat and hat throwing ass. And like, yeah, I can see her doing that. But remember, she's innocent.
Yeah, I don't get into these Twitter spaces too much. But I got some highlights from all of that, and it seemed to be quite a wild time last night. And
oh yeah, it was hilarious.
Whatever that was.
The fact that D'Lo Brown was in there, like
D'Lo's great, and I definitely see him getting involved with that. He likes to joke around and entertain everybody. So of course he would hop in there to give his 2 cents.
Yes, Jim, D'Lo Brown was there. Was he blamed for everything at the end? No, he came in to like try and bring everyone together, Jim.
That's D'Lo.
I'm a big D'Lo fan, and speaking of the custom moves in this game, I'm so glad that someone made the D'Lo Brown like head shake leg drop.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, I would watch the hell out of this match because, like, let's be honest, they're both fantastic anyway. So, and Rio coming from that sort of hard-hitting Joshi tradition where you're not entirely convinced that they were ever taught it was a work.
That is true.
The same good, like a lot of them, like Asuka, Miyu Yamashita, who like I've been watching some of her matches on YouTube recently, and by God, that woman kicks hard.
Oh yeah.
Oh, and this, agreed, Morgan. The Sky High is an amazing move. Oh.
Oh no. It ended too soon.
Sometimes Fire Pro gonna Fire Pro. Like the time, the most infamous result we've ever had. 68! Go, holy moly.
Oh, it ruined the whole card. We were creeping up towards that 90. Now we're...
We can only assume like
300s
maybe
across the board.
Rio was hurt or something, because that's the only explanation I can think of. But, you know, you've still got 3 matches left, and 3 matches that I believe will be extremely solid.
We can only hope.
Speaking of which, next up, O'Shea Edwards versus Ricky Shane Page.
I think this is gonna be a 95 or above. We're gonna get there.
There's 2 big, strong hitting boys. To paraphrase Big E, big meaty men smacking meat.
That's right. That's what we're all here for.
I really hope they give him his match with Goldberg.
I do too. And I could see it. Happening. It's over enough, for sure. And people would pay to see that match.
Oh, Morgan in the chat is predicting a critical in this one.
Ooh, could be.
Well, technically they're predicting Sofia Vergara, but because in the stream, Sofia Vergara is the patron saint of criticals.
I'm not even gonna ask why.
It makes actually complete sense. It's because of that Instagram picture she posted from the PWG show with the "I think they are dead."
Oh, yeah, that does make sense.
So we've got a little Sofia graphic that comes up whenever we get a critical.
Okay, well, let's see if we can make it happen.
And I think looking at this, because of like, I guess like the way the Fire Pro sizing system works, this is not doing justice to how big a dude O'Shea Edwards is.
Oh yeah, he's huge.
There's an absolute tank of a man. Is he big or is he big B space I space G? He's both. I mean, RSP's a big dude as well. But I think, like, because of the height thing in the game, it's not doing justice to just how enormous O'Shea is as a human being. I mean, the guy was a firefighter, and if my house was on fire and he came in to save me, I would feel safe.
Yeah, there's probably nobody else you'd rather have run in to save you, honestly. You're like, if you're trapped under a wall or something, that's the guy who's going to come in and just pick it up and toss it away and get you to safety. I'm sure maybe he's done that once or twice.
Now, you mean an actual physical wall and not like the Wall Brother from WCW, correct?
Either one works.
And that leads us to the other little reveal that often gets pulled on these streams. Do you know what another wrestler that was a firefighter before they went full time in wrestling? The answer may surprise you.
Nobody I can think of.
The answer is Fredo.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean it's one of those that's kind of like commonly known over here, but like nowhere else seemingly, and it's like I know it's a serious job and he did it for many years, so I imagine he was good at it, but it's just the very idea of your house burning down and Grado comes in to save you.
I think it'd feel a little better with O'Shea coming in. But, no offense to Grado, I'm sure he's saved a life or two himself.
Oh, that's true, that's another one, Firehawk. Scotty Tuhati was a firefighter as well.
Oh, yeah.
And now Grado actually on TV and stuff over here, like out with wrestling, doing very, very well for himself. He's in like sitcoms and stuff here now.
Is that right? That's cool.
But yeah, he's at that stage in Scotland at least where like even people who don't watch wrestling know who he is. Like he was in a show called River City, which is like the Scottish equivalent of like the English show EastEnders.
Oh.
Like one of those like soap operas that gets like shown like a couple of times a week. He was in like the big Scottish one, so like now even like pretty much everyone knows who Grado here is now, which is weird, but in a good way, because I'm happy for it.
Yeah, that's cool.
Right, this is going back and forth. I think you're onto a winner here.
I need to go a few more minutes, though, right? Does the length of the match have that much of an effect, or is it really just the back and forth?
More the back and forth, because I've had matches that have only gone like 10 minutes that have scored like high 90s. And Big Hands Johnson there's a good ref. He'll make sure it goes on as long as it needs to.
Yeah.
He literally exists just because I thought of the name Big Hands Johnson and it made me laugh.
I mean, I like that his name fits his appearance. You know exactly. You hear the name and then you see him and you go, "Yep, that checks. That checks out."
Well, the in-universe explanation for it is that his hands are just so big and muscly from all the counting he does.
I mean, why wouldn't they be?
Comment from Kero who says, the swimming suit guy is strong. He sure is. I'm assuming that's on a reference to O'Shea Edwards because of the singlet. As we said, O'Shea Edwards, a big strong man indeed. He's yeeting our man Ricochet Page for that suplex.
Well, looks like Ricky's a little gassed. I don't know if he's gonna kick out here. Okay, go.
There you go.
1.5 minutes is a respectable amount of time to go. I'd be gassed after 7. So.
I can only imagine that giggle there is because yeeting is not an inherently Scottish phrase, and I think it's one of those that just sounds funnier in a Scottish accent. 95, you were bang on.
Oh, I told you.
I managed to do that on the stream the other day as well. I correctly predicted the rating of like about 4 matches in a row. It was quite unnerving. Like before they happened. Alright, so semi-main event time. Big Swole versus Faye Jackson. I don't know why this would be in the aftermath of that trial, given that Big Swole was representing Faye. But either way, it's going to happen. Alright. Big Swole, Faye Jackson. I'll set up the betting chat so you can bet your hot dog handshakes on who you think's going to win.
I don't think I could even pick a winner. I think maybe I'm leaning more towards Faye, but this one goes either way.
Here we go. I'm so gutted I never got to see Faye live before she retired.
Yeah, that was a shocking turn of events, but Faye's doing well. You know, she's still obviously involved in the community with what happened last night, and still entertaining everyone, whether she's in a ring or not. So either way, you still see a lot of Faye all over, and whether she's back in the ring or not, she's still she'll be making us all laugh and being a very sweet, entertaining person. So
yeah, I mean,
people.
Never made it to Scotland, sadly. England once or twice, but never up here, unfortunately. I would have loved to have seen her wrestle live, but was not to be. Big Swole, however, there's still time. So you mentioned earlier, like, going to your first independent show, and it made me think, like, I'd never really got into, like, actually going live to local independent wrestling until a bit later. And it happened, like, I'd seen clips of some of the local indies on, like, YouTube and stuff. And then, like, one of my friends moved to Glasgow and was walking down the street one day, and they saw a poster outside, like, where the place was selling tickets, and it was for ICW. It was the ICW next show featuring New Japan star Fergal Devitt, and his response to that was to immediately buy us 2 tickets. He didn't even phone me to ask, "Hey, do you want to go to this show?" because he knew what my answer would be.
Sure. Of course.
Ah yes, Kero, that is our senior official, Big Hands Johnson. Not to be confused with our junior official, who is senior official. which is basically just a ref in a lucha mask.
Give up. Give up. Give up.
So, like, I mean, like Jeremy asked earlier about like when you decided wrestling for you, but do you remember the first match you ever saw?
I couldn't. No.
Or the earliest one
You
that
mean live or
stands out?
just like
In general, but or like the earliest one that stands out at least.
I couldn't even say just because like so I have an older brother who was really into wrestling, and so my earliest memories are of like playing with the old Hasbro figures and watching tapes and I just couldn't even think of what was the first one that I like remember. It's just something that's always been on in my house in some form or another. Whether we were more of like a WCW family, so I probably remember more late 90s Nitro type stuff, but I don't know. I get that question a lot, and it's just like there's no one match or one moment that was like, oh, that made me a fan. Like I simply existed. I came into this world as a wrestling fan, just predetermined. So
yeah. Like wrestling. Oh wait.
Exactly. Well, not
and you're in good
Fire Pro though.
You're in good company as well, because I was very much a WCW guy as well. Basically, right up like until the very end when the wheels started to come off. Like, basically when the likes of Chris Jericho and Eddie Guerrero were jumping ship, because they were like my favourite ones there.
Yeah.
But I always loved watching the Cruiserweights on it.
Yeah, I grew up as a big fan of the Cruiserweights. I think it just sort of resonated when you just kind of saw. Like I was a big fan of like the heavyweights as well. Whether it was like DDP or Sting or the stuff NWO was doing. But I think as a younger fan, you start to gravitate more towards the Cruiserweights, just because there was more action and they had cool. I was like Ultimo Dragon as a kid, just because his mask was so cool and he threw cool kicks and everything. So it's like as a pretty young kid, it was that's what resonated with me a lot.
Who was your favourite late 90s WCW Cruiserweight?
I would say probably either Ultimo Dragon or Rey Mysterio. Probably Ultimo Dragon. Honestly, I think Ultimo Dragon was my favorite for a pretty long time.
That was quite the roster they had, like with the Cruiserweights. Not obviously like Rey and Ultimo Dragon are like the big names of the lot, but like the likes of like Kidman, Juventud Guerrera, Blitzkrieg, Psychosis. I loved that stuff. And you mentioned I was a big DDP fan.
Yeah, I've kind of having mostly been working from home over the past year and a half. I've just put on a lot of old Nitros just to kind of have on the TV sitting at my desk here, and there's just a lot of like matches you remember a lot of like the pay-per-view matches because they're that's what you kind of like. You go back and you watch pay-per-views and you see all these. You lose track of some of the stuff that happened on like Nitro and stuff that like pops up and you're like, man, I didn't even know this. Like, especially with the Cruiserweights, like there's people that pop up and matches that pop up that you just don't remember because there's just so much on Nitro. But
obviously, not just 77. That's kind of unfair.
I think that was a kind of a screw job. It was unfair. I think that's gonna unless we can pull a 100 out here.
I think you can.
I think it's possible.
I think it can be done. I mean, Samoa Joe versus Orange Cassidy. If that's not a 100, I don't know what is.
There's no hope for anything else. This is not 100%.
Yeah. Samoa Joe, another wrestler I never got to see live. Orange Cassidy I did though.
I went to quite a few. Anytime TNA came to town, I think I've seen Samoa Joe live quite a few times on some pay-per-views that would come through St. Louis.
The one time I got the Chikara UK tour, they ran a show in Glasgow. And it was weird because Glasgow is very much a wrestling town. So a lot of people who went didn't really know that much about Chikara. They just went because it was a wrestling show. So you've got these people, like Orange Cassidy, like Eddie Kingston, who were on that show, and not a lot of the crowd knew them. Chuck Taylor as well, actually. Chuck Taylor was Cassidy's opponent that night. Albeit, this was when Stokely had the rights to the Chuck Taylor name, so Chuck Taylor was actually how we do it. Because of course he was.
Yeah, of course.
Samoa Joe rules, so I would love to have seen him live.
That was like a moment for me. When I first started wrestling, so this probably would have been... I did a lot with Ring of Honor when I first started, just doing like pre-show matches and kind of following, just because I was in with some of the roster there. A lot of them were based out of St. Louis. I would travel, like Kyle O'Reilly and ACH. We're all based out of St. Louis at different points, but... So I would do pre-show matches every once in a while, and there was one show, I think it was in Milwaukee, where Samoa Joe had just this is right before he signed with WWE. He kind of went and did some independence for a while, and he did Ring of Honor for a few shows, and but he was there, and he I just got able to kind of go talk to him and kind of in wrestling gear, and kind of had one of those moments of one of my favorite wrestlers from when I was a kid, who I'd seen a bunch of times at pay-per-views and was a big TNA fan, and just to kind of have that moment of oh, here I am in my wrestling gear and I'm talking to Samoa Joe, and it's just kind of one of those things where, especially early on in your career, you're just wow, this is this is real. I'm a wrestler now. It was one of those kind of just cool things that I'll always remember. And he was real nice, and talked to me for a little bit and had good advice, and was really cool.
I've always heard that. Oh, I heard he was just absolute lovely fella.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Well, not so much now. He's just trying to crush poor Orange Cassidy by just relentlessly STOing him into the floor.
I guess what happened earlier? So did Orange get a critical in there, but it didn't do anything?
No.
I don't think I've ever seen that happen.
It's what it is. You get the strike battles in this. Someone made a custom taunt, where he does, before the sort of coup de grace, as it were, where he gives them a little point, and I gave Cassidy that one, forgetting that it has the critical animation tied to it.
What happened there?
It confuses me all the time, every time I see it, because I keep forgetting to remove it. I was saying that our friend Jim in the chat once made a move that is literally the fourth wall stuff here. Basically, the wrestler points up and the critical thing appears, and the idea is that they're trying to confuse the other wrestler into thinking they've been critical, and then they just hit them with a roll up.
Yeah.
I don't think that would work in real life.
No, probably not. Might. It's wrestling. Anything can happen.
That's true. And if anyone could do it, it would be Orange Cassidy. Oh, I mean, it's a 20 count, but don't you be getting that count out victory, Samoa Joe.
We need a clear winner to the main event. We need a straight up finish here. We're not trying to come back and book any angles or anything. I'd love to come back sometime, but
Oh, he's at it again. Try to confuse Samoa Joe into thinking he's been critical.
yeah, it's tricky. Orange Cassidy is like a tricky style wrestler. So
There's an idea for Jim in the chat. Oh, Samoa Joe try to prank him by hitting him with his own stuff.
so, that's got to get us up towards 95, 96%. That's a beautiful moment.
That's like the Fire Pro equivalent of like when Sting was joining in with Cassidy's shenanigans last night.
That was fantastic. I did see that.
And as Firehawk notes in the chat, Joe probably would go along with that.
Yeah, probably.
And pull it off, no less. Oh, Destroyer. Sadly, nobody has made the slow motion Orange Cassidy Canadian Destroyer yet.
Gosh, I'm actually just really interested in this match.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying this.
I would watch this. Absolutely, 100%. Oh. Joe puts the brakes on. Orange Cassidy taking the time to remind us all that he's got pockets.
As he so often does. I'm gonna call it right. I think we got a 99 or 100%. I'm gonna call it right now. Assuming we get a good finish in here.
I can see
Actually,
this.
if it
It's a
picks
good.
up more towards like the 20-minute mark, I think for sure.
Oh! Managed to frick him into getting super kicked.
Of course. I mean, it's you got to trick him, and then you got to get that offense in. Orange knows what he's doing.
Yeah, this is definitely going to get a better rating, I think. Oh,
So that might be it. Yeah.
there it is. Samoa Joe, your winner, the main event. But yes.
Come on, give it to me. Give it
Good
to
rating.
me.
96.
Pretty good.
Fair, I would say. A very fair rating for a very fair match. I'd say is like there was chicanery about trying to convince people they'd been critical and whatnot, but so that gives us an overall rating 86.9.
Round that up. That's 87%.
Yeah. And here's the thing, like, because like Fire Pro has taught us that like that's good, but you can do better. Whereas I'm sure if any promoter ran a show and it was considered 86.9 successful, they'd be delighted.
Absolutely. And it appears that the attendance was way more than could even fit in the building. So I'm not sure how that happened, but
Super, like, no vacancy, of course.
like breaking the fire code, no vacancy.
So that 86.9 puts you above the following: Alexis Falcon, Big Calix, Matt Mikowski, Speedball Mike Bailey, Allison Kay, and New Legacy Inc.'s Slip.
I'll take it. I'll take it. That's pretty good.
Of the new leaderboard since the restarted days, the top right now, by the way, is O'Shea Edwards with 93.8. And then now we get all the weird title changes from around the world.
Of course. Someday there will be like a promoter game or mode or something that is able to accurately just not have like a bunch of weird stuff happen. But it's just always been a thing in any game that has this sort of mode in it. It's always just you kind of do your thing, and then the rest of the universe just kind of whacks out the whole time.
GCW went out of business.
Oh no,
That's terrible. Which is weird, because usually when I run these at CMLL, it goes out of business first because of the size of the roster.
and pay everybody.
But you got us a TV deal there.
Well, you're welcome.
Apparently the next show we need to book O'Shea Edwards versus Rosemary because of a feud.
Okay. Keep that in mind.
But that wraps up Dan the Dad's show. I would say a damn fine show, but there is one thing left to do. Because, and as a Fire Pro player yourself, Dan, you'll know that Fire Pro, as well as having professional wrestling, also has mixed martial arts.
Sure.
So it is with that in mind, I ask you, which wrestler, as long as I've got them in the game, would you like to put into a shoot fight with a bear?
Oh man, I feel like I could get some heat for that if I throw somebody in there.
I mean, it goes all sorts of ways. I mean, Big Calix put himself against the bear.
That makes sense. You know what? Did we have Danhausen somewhere in the roster?
We do have Danhausen, yes.
Let's put Danhausen against a bear.
In fact, we'll
I'm
do
gonna let him know about it.
We'll do the rings as well. I have tried to get him on for one of these, but he's a very, very busy man. Or very busy evil entity.
Evil, yeah. He simply is an entity who exists.
The fun thing is, at my work there are people who love Danhausen, even though they're not that into wrestling, just because of the clips I've shown them and they think he's great. Also, someone made a Danhausen face in the game.
Well, that's nice.
It's very nice and very evil.
Of course. Very on brand.
We've picked a special bear for Danhausen to face, a two-sport athlete, hockey-playing bear Wayne Gritsley.
It's very funny. I do love Danhausen's knockoff theme.
It's so good, right?
I love themes that just are just close enough that you can tell what it is, but it's, legally distinct.
That, the production on it's fantastic. It sounds great.
Yeah. It sounds legitimate. It's just I'm a big fan of themes that are. I think growing up with WCW, because a lot of their themes were DDP. It was just that just off Nirvana.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Now, does the wrestler often defeat the bear? Does it go either way?
It has happened, yeah. Trying to think, Chris Hero beat the bear. Max the Impaler beat the bear. Neither of those really surprising when you think about it.
Sure.
Peyton Royce beat a bear.
Okay, that's a little more surprising. But...
Because when I do my regular non-guest booking Fire Pro streams, at the end of those I let the chat pick who fights the bear. Effie beat the bear. I'm sure there's a joke in there.
Somewhere. I'm not gonna touch it. But somewhere.
Nick Gage destroyed the bear.
Of course.
Apparently the bear was not MDK and it could not be allowed to stand.
The bear was not gang affiliated.
That's going to be nuts seeing him on TV. Like,
it's one of those things where it's just like, because I was at I was talking about that fair show last night, so I had no, just where it was, I had no service on my phone, just because it was kind of a pretty far off the beaten path, as it were. So I didn't get any of that news until I got a little bit closer to home. My phone got some service again, and I was like, oh, I couldn't even believe it.
I was streaming last night, and we found out, like, because my Twitter feed refreshed, and it was like the clip of MJF introducing him. We found out literally right at the end of my stream last night, and everyone was like, "Wait, what? Cool," you know.
I think that was everyone's reaction was nice.
Yeah.
No one had a negative reaction to that. So.
Like, how could you? I mean, it's Nick Gage on TV against Chris Jericho. You know, a match I never in a million years would ever have thought of. And someone thought of it, and I love them for it. That's a shout. If we can get good enough with the custom parts, we could make a Danhausen bear.
Oh, I think that's a brilliant idea. Definitely make that happen. Bearhausen.
I already thought of literally last night I thought of a bear wrestler crossover we can do. And that's Coco Wee Bear. It would have to be a very small bear, but a bear nonetheless.
Just bear headbutts.
Jim in the chat says, then Chris Jericho went, okay, so there's this big cool crane guy who wants to fight me, so I will become my strongest form, Pagliacci. The fact that it's like Nick Gage, not just against Chris Jericho, but against like Crow Chris Jericho.
Yeah, his I forget what he calls that. Whatever alter ego it was.
The Painmaker.
Pain. Yeah, that's right.
Golf Dad Chris Jericho, as I've seen a lot of people call him. But he might be a golf dad, but he's not everyone's dad, like you.
That's right. That's I don't want him to. I guess if anyone's gonna infringe on my gimmick, I'm okay with it if it's him. But everyone else, just stay away from my my bread and butter here. I gotta make a little bit more money before I'm done doing this.
Oh, and the bear just.
Danhausen's he's like kicking his bear's ass, but the bear is back up.
Yeah, just straight back up, no less. Now, Danhausen, we're into the murder round here. The third round is the murder round because very often these bear fights end in the third round one way or another. The bear no selling, the Goodnight House, and Pepsi Man, and that other guy's going to be pissed. If it's true that Punk's coming back, I want a CM Punk Danhausen match where Punk comes out to the Pepsi Man theme.
I can see it.
I mean, let's be honest, like, you know, like, Punk's made his money, he's at that stage where he can just do what he wants, right? So why not that?
I mean, I don't know who's going to tell him no at this point.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Oh, but Danhausen's back up. Looks like we're going into round 4.
How long can this go? 12 rounds?
I think it's 15 rounds, but I don't think it's ever gone past 5. Danhausen is not giving up.
One, two, three, four, five, six, 7, 8, 9.
Nice. Still in it. Oh, there we are.
There it is.
So there it is. Wayne Gritzley once again gets the win.
I don't think. How can Wayne Grizzly lose with a name like that? That's a great gimmick for a bear.
And with that, 97% as well. Maybe-
should add that to my total. Add that to my percentage.
Maybe you should have booked Danhausen against a bear.
That's in a shoot fight.
All right, with that, we'll wrap it. Thank you very, very much for joining me. And once again,
this was a blast.
And once again, chat, if you've enjoyed this, in lieu of subscribing or donating to the channel or whatever, please consider giving a donation to St. Louis Children's Hospital if you are so able. If not, even spread the word about them. Someone else might be able to help. Dan the Dad, where can people find you on the internet?
So it's at Thanks Dan the Dad on Twitter and Instagram, and also follow my promotion Glory Pro. That's at We Are Glory Pro on Twitter. So a bunch of good shows coming up that I'll be promoting and wrestling on. So I've got a busy in next few months. But yeah, follow me on social media. You can, if you're interested in any merchandise or anything, danthedad.bigcartel.com. You can find that link if you find me on Twitter and everything. So I appreciate it. I appreciate if you guys threw some donations over to the St. Louis Children's Hospital and for joining us. I had a lot of fun. I would definitely come on here again and try to beat my score. That's for sure. Now that I've got my feet wet a bit.
We have had a few multiple appearances, like Andrew Everett's been on a few times. Dana Winwood.
Andrew Everett's got his own. He's got his own Fire Pro world going on. He's
I'm pretty sure he got the idea from like me getting him on here, to be honest. I'm not saying that in a bad way because I love the guy. He's great. But yeah, one of the things that brought us into each other's lives was a shared love of Fire Pro. Also, I know you've got a Twitch yourself. Please furnish people with a link for that and plug your schedule or whatnot.
Oh yeah, so yeah, that's Thanks Dan the Dad on Twitch as well. So I'm usually on Tuesdays and Thursdays around like what we did today. It's like 5 p.m. Central Time. So yeah, you can find me there. I'm pretty consistent with that Tuesday Thursday schedule. Sometimes playing games, sometimes just kind of watching wrestling and chatting. I've also done trivia and some other interactive stuff. So definitely trying to find some more stuff that's a little more interactive. That's fun for everybody. So figuring it out, but it's fun.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. And to end, we are going to raid. IRM Stream's on. So we're going to raid our friends at IRM Stream, who are currently doing their Old Timey Baseball series. Which is in the game Super Mega Baseball that they've made black and white and do old-timey baseball commentary over, and it's great.
That sounds great. I might actually check that out.
It's run by... did you ever work for Nova Pro?
No, I never did, but I'm familiar with it.
Remember Brian Hughes that used to ring announce for him? It's him.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it's him that does it, and he's very, very good at it. So we're going to raid them.
Cool.
Yeah, thanks for coming, everyone, and catch you next time. Our next guest booking stream will be a week tonight with Dropkick Depression champion Razorwing. The charity he's chosen is also a children's hospital. He's chosen the St Jude's Children's Research Hospital. Also, confirmed tonight, although we've not got a date yet, we're going to be doing one at some point with Sway Archer. And so, yeah, catch you later, everyone. Have a great rest of your night. Bye!
Bye bye.